Man, I mean, that's intense, and that's real. And people have to understand, like, Nikko was charged with the crimes, but from everything that I've gathered from reading the story and reading his history, it seems like Nikko was not even in his body at that moment to me. It seems like, like he wasn't even aware of what was going on. Like, and you guys have to understand, me and Nikko spoke briefly the other day, and he told me his sister heard him speaking some language that was so foreign that no one could even understand. And when I was doing research, reading these files, one of the doctors actually had one of your letters, and they said about a third of it was some kind of language that they couldn't even decipher.
Yeah, that's what the ancient prophets and the serpent and the demons they revealed to spiritual empowerment.
Man, so I mean, getting deeper in life. So we know that this is not just some kid trying to get his thrills off. This ain't some kid trying to act cool. This ain't some kid trying to do a little initiation to a gang. This is someone that's been hearing voices. This is Nikko has been hearing voices. Nikko has been going through this for years and doesn't understand why. And the powers to be can't help him in that fashion. So as you grow up as a young man, you get mature, not mature, but you start to grow up at about 17 is when the first kind of criminal acts got serious to where you ended up getting locked up for a long term. Is that right?
Yeah, actually it was 15. I did the crimes when I was 15. I robbed some people.
Okay.
Some full-on robbery with a gun. And then I went to prison at 3 months 16. January of 2003 all the way until July 30th of 2013. I was locked up for 10.5 years.
And do they charge you as an adult?
Yes, I got charged as an adult at the age of 16.
Man, and that's where the justice system is messed up. Some states do that all the time, and then some it's at their discretion. Basically, it's how they feel about you. It's like how the judge basically feels about you. He takes a look at you, whatever his feeling is. Okay, I'm gonna give this kid a chance, or I'm gonna charge him as an adult. It's just basically how they feel about the situation. The judges have the discretion to charge you as an adult or not. Is that right?
Yes, of course. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand that. It's like they think, oh, he had to be charged as an adult. No, he didn't. So I mean, right off the gate, they're already giving you the max. They're not listening to you, and at that point, they weren't even taking account your mental condition as well, right?
Yes.
I hope the audience is listening to this. So I hope you guys are starting to paint the picture here, because we're going to go into some deeper stuff. So these two offenses happen, you know what I mean? And there were two carjackings. We don't have to get into it. People go read and find out about that. But basically that happened. Nikko ended up incarcerated, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, Nikko, it was about 15 to 17 years. And then after some incidences while being incarcerated, they increased the time to about 18 to 21 years. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I got charged with a second-degree assault, second-degree felony assault on an inmate in a riot situation, and then I got charged with another assault on a lieutenant.
Okay, and
my grandmother's funeral.
And I'm sorry about your grandma passing while you were locked up, and I just want to give everyone kind of some context. All this time, you're still hearing voices and you're not getting treatment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So while being incarcerated, what really got me when I went over these documents, right? I went over that packet that I got sent over, and thank you for that again. I mean, the investigatory panel basically has a timeline of your time and how many transfers you had and how much time was in actual segregation or confinement and things of that nature. And I gotta say, it's crazy to look at, Nikko. It really is, bro. And I'm sorry you went through all that. And just to give people an idea, like, I'm not an expert in the prison system, but is it common for them to transfer someone so many times, Nikko?
No, it's not. The people who transfer a lot because they're being problematic, and I was starting riots and gang warfare and stuff like that in the prison system and stuff like that. So.
And at that time, there was a state hospital, right? Lincoln Regional Center, that could have had you committed and could have treated prisoners or you or any prisoner at that point if they did their due diligence and did it right, correct?
Yeah, yep. If I had been under medication, they put me under a forced antipsychotic injection that I'm under right now. They would that states basically that I have to take my medication every 21 days through injection because I refuse to take oral medications. That
Right.
I'm forced to get an antipsychotic injection. That if I don't take it, 5 guards will give me right here and they'll come in the room and wrestle me to the ground and forcefully inject me.
And that just agitates you more. That just agitates the condition more.
Yeah, it does. But I never made them forcefully give it to me. I just take it.
Okay. And Nikko, just speaking with you today and the other day, I gotta say, man, like you seem just like a straight down to earth, and I don't know how long you've been on your medication, but I mean, you seem at a good space right now in your head, bro.
I am.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear that, bro. And I want to go into the time. So a lot of people don't understand mental illness. I'm not an expert either. I'm not some psychologist, but I'm a human, and I could just see from reading this. Now, I'm not no expert, but if someone's telling me they're hearing voices, and I try to put them in a room for 23 hours a day, months on end, I would think that would intensify the voices. Was that what was happening?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, the long-term isolation and segregation of solitary confinement exacerbated my mental illness and made it worse.
And what's crazy is, I mean, if you guys think Nikko was just saying this, the state's own Senate committee found that an inmate with zero mental conditions going in after long-term solitary confinement will come out with all kinds of mental conditions, anxiety, PTSD, fear, and that's an inmate with zero conditions going in. So imagine how this amplified Nikko's feelings and Nikko's condition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just really want to get that out there so people could understand what was going on. It says here that out of your time, and when were you what year were you locked up the first time at 16?
January of 2013. I mean, January of 2003.
Of 2003. So basically, for 10 years, give or take, Nikko was incarcerated, and this is by the committee's own findings. 60% of the time, 23 hours a day in segregation, the NDCS found. He was transferred to multiple securities with varying degrees of security levels. And I mean, that's crazy. And then it actually has a timeline here of the lengths of the stints that he spent in this confinement. And it goes anywhere from 40 days to literally about a year on end, straight, continuous. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 years at a time, basically. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, I can't even imagine how that was, bro. I can't even imagine. It's like even for a normal inmate. And this is why you're a young man growing up, dealing with these voices, and you trying to figure it all out. Let's go up to the time about 6 months before your release, when things got more intense, and when you basically you were going to get released, you were going to get discharged, which means, for everyone who doesn't know, he was zero conditions, out on no parole, zero parole, and he was going to be released, basically to the public to live his life. So 6 months to go. You've been spending most of your time in segregation. Did they give you any mental treatment, any kind of program to rehabilitate you before you get out, or to help you reintegrate into society, anything like that?
No, I was no as my first time offender. I was supposed to be eligible for work release programs, eligible for parole to get early release. I wasn't given none of that. I wasn't given parole. I wasn't given no work detail, work release. I was not given any kind of mental health treatment. I wasn't given any psychiatric medications.
Damn. And I got a question, Nikko. Is Nebraska kind of like a small town feel with the government there? So for instance, I know how small town shit works. And basically, like, let's say you or your family members are known by the police. So then the DA knows these police officers, and then when any one of you would have a case, they'd be like, oh, here goes this family again. Let's wash them. Is that basically the feel of the Nebraska legal system?
Yes, basically, yes.
Okay, so I mean, not to put anyone on blast or anything out there, but some of Nikko's family members have had issues with the law as well. So Nikko's family is known to the DA, to everyone in this community, you know, to basically law enforcement in the community. So that also has a big part to play in all this. All right. And as you guys will see, we'll talk a little more. I'll try to get to it pretty quick. But basically, Nikko's race and look also has something to do with this. And if you guys don't believe me, we'll talk about this and I'll go over the reasons. 6 months before you start requesting help, Apophis starts speaking to you more intense, and you start to get these voices basically telling you, if you get released, you're going to kill people. And you trying not to get released, which sounds weird to some people, because we know every inmate's trying to get out. But at that point, you as a man felt, if I get released, these things will happen. And you were trying to tell people and warn people and basically stop it from happening. And you wanted to get committed, and you even helped. Your mom even was trying to help you in the process. Your mom was trying to help you in the process, and they basically didn't commit you. And if you want to talk about why, Nikko.
Okay. I'll tell you the reason why I didn't get committed, because it was a governmental conspiracy, and there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Mark Weilich. He is a psychologist. He lied to the county attorney and withheld my evaluation that I sent to Shaggi.
Yeah.
360. He has this in his possession, the evaluation that my doctor, Natalie Baker, evaluated me 3 months before I was released. And basically what happened was, in my Dr. Baker's evaluation, she documents that I'm just so, I cut into my face again, slivers of war. I had stitches as well as below my right eye. I was refusing to let them take stitches out my eye.
I'm sorry, Nikko. Can I cut you off for one quick second, bro? Is that okay?
Yeah.
May I ask, Nikko, how in solitary and all that were they letting you get razors, bro? And how was it keep happening? I mean, I even watched a news clip on the judge even asked, how was this still happening?
Okay. Well, the times that I cut into my face, I used my glasses. Actually, I was able to get razors from like other inmates and stuff like that. And sometimes some of the guards would give them to me too. Some of the guards that were cool would give them to me, because I would do scarification tattoos.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
So they basically weren't tripping. They were like, man, if he kills himself, whatever. They weren't really tripping like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Nikko, but yeah.
Okay. Well, Dr. Weilich, he lied. He intentionally lied to the Johnson County Attorney, Richard R. Smith, who called up to come to prison and asked him about many dangerous. And at the time my evaluation from Dr. Natalie Baker was revealed. She said in the evaluation that at this time a patient appears to be really dangerous and really needing a civil commitment to ensure the safety of others. And she also documented that I told her about human sacrifice to Apophis, that I was pledging to be his avenger, and that I was going to commit a human sacrifice upon my release. And that's why she said that I would be civilly committed to the hospital, meaning I would be sent to the hospital upon my release. But when the Johnson County Attorney, Richard R. Smith, called up to the prison and asked was I really ill and dangerous, Mark Weilich intentionally withheld to give the evaluation of Natalie Baker to the county attorney, so that I didn't get in front of the Board of Mental Health. Because if I would have got in front of the Board of Mental Health, and the 7 Nebraska senators uncovered this conspiracy as well. So what I'm telling everybody about Dr. Mark Weilich intentionally withheld my evaluation from the county attorney, Richard R. Smith, I'm not lying about that. I'm not just coming to the side of my neck. I got 7 Nebraska senators to support that. That's what happened.
I vouch for it. I read the documents, Nikko, and you know, you're absolutely correct. And I mean, it's shocking to see. It's shocking to read that this one, that you basically had 4 doctors stating the same thing. You had multiple doctors over the years, and they all basically concluded Axis 1, Axis 2 conditions, and they basically were all in agreement that Nikko needs help. This one doctor, and this goes back to politics. Yeah, this goes back to politics. I'm sorry, go ahead, Nikko.
I said one thing about me being diagnosed with schizoaffective bipolar type, that diagnosis means that I'm schizophrenic with a mood disorder. So I'm basically bipolar and schizophrenic.
Right. And on top of that, there is an actual law in the state of Nebraska that basically states anyone asking to be committed and exhibiting certain things, which you were exhibiting all of them, by the way, they should be committed and they have a right to be committed, and they basically denied you this right. And people talk critical about the police or the government or anything. It's like, a citizen is a citizen, but when someone's in the government, they take an oath, they have a standard that they have to follow, and they have the law that they have to go by. And when they go ahead and deny people their rights, and they deny people things that are afforded to them by law, I mean, that's why we talk about it. That's why we talk bad about these people, right? And I just want everyone to know that Nikko had every right to be committed as a prisoner, as any person in the state. And his mom even tried to help him like any mother would do for their son. And he was denied. And Dr. Wheelage worked for the department there, corrections in Nebraska. So you need to understand, these other doctors were basically third party neutral bodies. And this doctor worked for the Department of Corrections, and they have their own agenda, people. And if you guys think that they don't, you guys don't know about the world. All right, they got their own agenda that they're trying to push. And it's not one rogue Dr. Wheelage. It's not, a mistake he forgot to do this. This guy intentionally withheld this information so that Nikko would not be able to get the treatment that he needed and was afforded by law.
Exactly. And the thing about it, the thing about that is that makes it so bad about what happened was that he had to do that. The administration of Robert Houston was the director. I was writing directly to the director, man. My evaluation, my grievances. I was writing my grievances directly to the director of prison at the time, Robert Houston. They all were aware of this, but they felt that I was just a no good street kid. Came from Omaha, mostly concentrated black neighborhood. I was black man. I was young black dude that was gangbanging. They thought I was going to go back to North Omaha and hurt my own kind, and that it wasn't going to have no kind of repercussions or any kind of consequences for their environment. But the sad part was that where Andrew Culver got killed at 168th and 4th Street, that's a rich white neighborhood, a rich, prominent white neighborhood. And she was found laying in the middle of the street with her eyes blew out her head and bullets ripping out her face and her head and very brutally murdered. So what they didn't understand, that's why this racist motivation has come about for them to put me on death row and try to kill me and legally shut me up and sweep this controversy and this conspiracy under the rug, because they know that they were responsible for this, but they would never think that it was going to come into their environment, into their community. But it came, but their lies and their evil came back to haunt them. It came back to haunt them in their community.